Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing? Hope you're all good. Hope you can see me, hear me. Let me know if that's not the case, and I will. I'll try and fix it. Okay. We're calling this session gesture, but I think in reality it's going to be a mix. Probably won't do more than about 15-minute poses, 15 to 20, pushing maybe for a couple in the middle. Let's start with a couple of 10s, yeah? Let's do that. We'll start with 2 10s and then we'll take it from there. I think the last maybe 3 we can, you know, gesture it. Loud and clear, thanks Lulu. Good, yeah, hope you're all doing well. Okay. Without further ado, we drew this model somewhat recently, I want to say. Not too recently, but you know, she's on the leaner side and there's some nice anatomical ideas, so hopefully we can express that. Ready to grind? Absolutely, Jose. Let's do it. 10 minutes. Let's get cracking. Oh, and by the way, I should just mention, I am dog sitting alone today. First time I've done a stream where there's no one else in the house. Could get interesting. If the little girl needs to go to the bathroom at some point, I might have to just, you know, take off for a minute. Hoping that's not the case, but just giving you a heads up. Okay, manubrium, something like that. So I'm going away from us, then kind of subtly coming towards us there. A bit more like that. this leg is a bit more relaxed. Something like so. Yeah, thanks. Well, you see, knowing I was going to be on my own today, I figured, okay, I'll bring her for a walk, then she can have some unwind time, and then she'll sleep for the stream. Of course, the timing didn't quite work as I would have liked. So she's been napping for like the last 30 minutes or so. Hopefully she will go back to sleep. All the time, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. She might even make an appearance on the stream today. Let's see. Okay, you can't even see that foot. Let me... There we go. So she's holding this stick. Its hand is about here. Something like that. Pectoral muscle, nice pull right there. And she does have, just for these first couple of poses, she's got this kind of caveman bearskin type thing that she's wearing around her waist, which is a bit of fun. So we will indicate that. Nice, okay. Where are we at? Halfway mark, close to it. Trapezius, oh, tricep, sorry, coming down. Like so. Pectoral, lat, rib cage, and now coming down to where the oblique would be there. Okay. The leg coming down, knee revealing itself about here. Calf. Okay. Something like so. Where's our clock? 2 minutes. Yeah, really lean. Something like so. Tibia coming down. Okay. Wow, smudgy mess. I've got to stop leaning on the paper. There's actually a very interesting shadow pattern going on with this reference, but generally speaking, when I'm doing gesture, there's simply no time for it. So we will not get into that. All right, 15 seconds. And that's a wrap. Nice. Okay, next pose. Oh, actually, I can't put drawings on the floor with the little lady around. Okay, back pose. Interesting angle, this kind of pretty challenging pose actually. Let's see how we do. Her arms are already giving me a headache. Very interesting shapes. Yeah, you know, just generally she's got a very interesting kind of shape language going on, you know? You're not used to them. But wow, Lulu, you're up for it. You're up for the task. Okay, next pose. We'll do another 10. Let's go. All right, let's find the relationship, the large rhythmical ideas here. I'm going to find her spine generally. Now we've got an interesting thing here. I guess we had it from the front too, but it didn't feel quite so evident in a way. But we've got quite a lot of hidden form here around the buttocks and you know, the leg from this sheepskin or whatever it is that she's got on her. So we're just going to have to work through our understanding of ideas. We'll be able to figure it out. But do draw the hidden forms. It's tempting, I know, to just kind of draw only what you see, but especially when you're doing, you know, figures even with more drapery than this, you really want to understand what's underneath the form. So don't be afraid to kind of get in there. Well, let's get into it right now. It's things we can't see. So we can't see the sacrum. It's going to be sitting about here. Iliac crest coming up this way. We don't need to draw it in any great detail, but we do want to have a sense of what's there, so that when we put the drapery on, it's hanging in a logical way. Even that will be enough. Okay, rib cage sitting. You know, that's one good thing about a lean model like this is, you know, we can actually see quite a bit more of the rib cage than we normally would be able to. On, say, a thicker model, or even a more muscular model. Okay, so scapula sitting here. Now, Nawam, your name's upside down. Why is your name upside down? Okay, I think it's Nawam, drawing on the floor with pages spread around me. That's great, but clearly you don't have a dog that could potentially come in and destroy them all with a quick walk around the room. Okay, so hand is going to be about here, right? This upper arm is coming towards us. Sitting in here. Brachioradialis. Top of the scapula's there. I think this one's actually just a tiny bit higher about here. Head of the humerus. We can really see that acromion process sitting right about there, right? We know the head of the humerus is essentially directly under that. So I'm coming up like so. I'm going up this way. It might go slightly off camera there. And then she's holding a stick that's coming all the way through the form, like that. Okay, we have this bear skin, and it's coming across like so, up. I'm just going to find the general shape of this. Sitting in there, something like that. Alright, I've got a motor, 10 minutes only. Okay, so tricep. And then the rib cage, really very clear here, coming down this way, the oblique. Brachioradialis, starting here, overlapping. Latissimus hitting the rib cage there. Knee joint there, which is creating that shape, coming up into the hamstring, the overlap of the calf. Going down to the Achilles tendon and then down to the heel. Excuse me. Okay. 10 minutes isn't long, is it? This heel is actually up. scapula. This one over here, the right one, is quite intense because it's kind of getting compressed into the center of the form. And there's our 10. Yeah, tricky pose, huh? A lot going on with it. Okay. Okay, next pose. So the next one, I thought maybe could be a bit of a longer form pose. Maybe we'll go like a comfortable 15. And you know what that means. Could be 17. Could be 20. Now try and keep in the spirit of this being a gesture session. But if we run over a little bit, we run over. See my little micro pencils? Turns out I've loads of them and they're good to go, so I'm going to make the most of it. All right. Rick, you made it. You only have your phone. Well, you can always catch up after the fact, huh? Well, maybe the phone's big enough. Maybe it's good to just make you only look at the large ideas, right? Could be a virtue. Okay. Yeah, let's do this. Now, why isn't my clock working? There we go. Would help if I hit the right button. Drawing with a Sharpie. Hey, why not? Why not indeed? All right, I need to really... Now this on its surface could look like quite a straightforward pose. And I guess to some regards it is. Oh, hello. Okay, guys, just 1 second. Come here. Come here. Come here. Just give you guys an update on the little lady. Oh, here she is. A little bigger than she was last time. There you go. Say hi to everyone. Look over there. No? You don't look over there? Okay. Come on. Good girl. Here. Go play with your toy. Yeah, she is growing like crazy. She's putting on like 2 pounds a week or something, like over 2 pounds a week. She's putting on 1 kilo a week. Sorry, let's get back to it. Just thought you might enjoy that distraction just for a sec. Yeah, she just came in to show me that she still has her little babies, her soft toys. She has her favorites. And she does like to show them off. Yeah, this pose, like, it looks quiet, and it is a quiet pose, but I think it's actually, it's got quite a lot of subtlety to it. When you've got two legs like this that are kind of compressed in the way that these are, I like to almost think of them as a single volume, at least initially, right? Like, rather than just immediately dividing them, it's kind of useful to think of them in those terms. Then you can, find the separation in that, but like find them as like this large shape first, then you can, make decisions on the divisions. She's huge, yeah, she is. Yeah, crazy, huh? Really crazy. She's growing so fast. I'm just a tiny little puppy. Amazing, really. So we've got this lovely draw it like a mermaid skirt. There you go. Well, that's a nice analogy. Yeah, I like that in the one. It's a good way of thinking about it. Okay, I know it looks a little crude, but it'll get refined as we go, hopefully. Now, if this ankle is... So, pubic bones there, ankles are actually about here and here. Okay, we're good. Now she's leaning slightly back, right? This is what I was saying about it being subtle. Manubrium, clavicles are super clear. Really lovely to see. And once again, slight hyperextension in the elbow. I snort a kilo a week. Tobacco, I assume, yeah, right? Mm-hmm. Don't know what you're talking about. Stenochloidal mastoid. Trap. Trap. Now, be mindful. I was actually giving a class yesterday, and I gave this note, and I've given this note 100 times, and I'm just going to remind you guys of it. Look at where the clavicle is. Make sure your distance between the clavicle and where the pectoral attaches here. Make sure this distance isn't too short. There is a tendency people want to shorten it up, put this up here. Really try and measure that distance between the clavicle and that point. Okay. You got your toy? Good girl. Good girl. Okay. Oblique is sitting about here and here. too. I'm a bit nervous about how this is all going to work with the puppy. Like, she's being really good, but you know how it can go. Alright, this music's too much. Stop. There we go. Okay. The obliques coming down this way. Nice to draw to sort of indicate this disc that she's sitting on, something like that. Just frame her slightly. Okay. Oh, it's Hemant. How you doing? Okay. Let's get into this. Coming down. Rib cage. Oblique sitting there. A lovely shape from the compression of the calf sitting in here. Coming up, hint of the tricep as we come up to the deltoid. Then look how kind of straight this passage is as we then come around and we come up to the little bump of the clavicle, and then we come up to the trapezius. Look for those straights, guys. Look for the straights. We want to rid the world of rounded out figure drawing. What happened? 1986? Get out of here. Okay. Pectoral. Rib cage. Oblique. Coming into here and down. Something like that. Same on this side, you get like the tricep and then a very, very subtle transition into the deltoid coming up this way and then up. back to that. Okay, let's keep cracking. Time is ticking, huh? Yeah, got some lovely shapes going on here. Really focusing as much on the shape of the calf as I do that transition there as I am anything else. This way. Okay, now ankle sitting there. Okay, enough. We're at 16 minutes. Okay, we will go for like another 2 or 3 minutes and then we will call it, okay? I thought this one might go long. Jose says, I'm having a hard time placing the hips in poses like the fourth one, where they always look heavily distorted. Could you give any tips on how to see the hips through the figure? Thanks. On the fourth pose? Well, I'd be happy to, once we get to the fourth pose, Jose. Sure, no problem. Shadows are really easy to translate into line, and they will obviously bring, like, you know, there's even a little bit here of this kind of suggesting core shadow with no real intention of, you know, shading it or in any meaningful way, but just helping describe form. with the core shadow. All right, I think we will. It's probably as good a place as any to call it with this one. Very interesting pose, you know, challenging. Just a lot of subtlety and obviously the angle, and then you know, the legs are not conventional in the way that they're sitting in the form. Fun. Well, the puppy's gone quiet, so that's either a good sign that she's asleep, or it's a bad sign that something crazy's going on, and I don't know about it. I really should have put her in her crate. She does have a crate, and she's very good about going into it. But I didn't. I figured, let's see what happens. So I could go out to absolute carnage. She destroys the house silently. You know, she's been really good at not destroying things, which is one of the reasons why I took this chance. You know, I've always maintained, and I know that there is always going to be exceptions to this rule, and I could very much regret this statement, but I really do believe a well-exercised dog is a happy dog, and generally speaking, a less destructive dog. Like, boredom will always make a dog, you know, do things that they shouldn't, but she got a really good walk this afternoon. I'm quietly confident, she's obviously quiet too, but I'm quietly confident it'll be okay. Okay, so yeah, look, so this next pose, it's kind of, it's tricky in as much as we've got a lot of hidden forms. We've got this left leg coming up and obscuring our view of many things that are going on in the form. This comes back to what we talked about before, with drawing through and understanding where things are in relationship to each other, so that we can understand where placement of the things that are in front that are obscuring, how they actually attach to the main part of the torso, right? So, you know, I'll talk my way through it as I go, and hopefully it'll make sense. Exercise what stops doggos from obliterating the house the most? I think so, right? And not letting them be bored. I think part of the problem when dogs get super destructive is when they're left alone on their own for too long, they get lonely and they get bored, right? Exercise makes me less destructive too. I think it makes us all a bit less destructive, hopefully. I work out so I can destroy more things. The yin and the yang of life. All right, yeah, fun model, I reckon. She's good. All right, so let's go. I think potentially about 15. How many more poses do we have? 50. Yeah, let's aim for a 15-ish. Okay. We got this large rhythmical idea of the back kind of sweeping this way, right? Coming down to where she's sitting, which will be her hips, obviously, right? So I'm just going to just find a very rough beginning and end point. I'm looking even here, though, at kind of like the axis of the shoulders, coming this way. Then I'm thinking about the upper torso, which is going to be sitting here, right? The rib cage is going to be taking up this area here. So then as we come down this way, the lower torso is going to be sitting here. So I'm kind of thinking about what does this stuff look like, box-like, right? So this is the back of the form, right? This is where her buttocks are there. But if you think about, if we just think about her kind of almost in a box-like way, you could almost say that the side of the box is here, right? And then it kind of goes off in this direction, very loosely, like as a concept. So I'm thinking roughly, if this was a box for the hips, it's sitting roughly about here, right? So I'm thinking, trying to think volumetrically, not just freaking out because there's a leg sitting in front of that form. And I might push and pull on this. My perspective's probably a little off. It's probably actually going more down this way, but it doesn't matter. There's a rough placement there. Now, even though I can't see it, I know that she's 3/4 front, right? She's not in profile. So I want to get a center line sitting roughly somewhere around here. And we already established that this is the axis of the shoulders. And I'm going to just use my guesstimation to say that the manubrium is probably about here, because I can see that clavicle going up this way. Head of the humerus of that arm is probably about there. And then this shoulder is obscuring, but we know that the clavicle's attached to it, so I know that this clavicle's coming up to about here. And I can see the head of the humerus on this arm quite clearly sitting about here. And I'm just going to very lightly put in a direction for the arm there. Just coming back over here, clavicle going up that way, the pectoral muscles sitting about here, right? We can just get a peek of that. Now, why is that important? Well, because primarily, at least at this point, is I look at that and then I measure down, and I know that my knee is roughly, for this left leg, is going to be about there. And then we've got this long sweeping tibia kind of coming down this way, right? Now, if I look here, back to where this is, where is this ankle in relationship? It's roughly about here, right? So I'm just going to ballpark it. We can always change our mind. But that will, at least now I know where the end point of the knee is. I can, at least with a slight bit more confidence, I can say, okay, my leg is attaching here. If I want to think of it in terms of a cylinder, leg is attaching up there. And then this one is kind of coming down and sitting in here, right? Even though we can't see it there because the calf's in the way. Coming to here, come down, okay. I know that my calf starts around here, right? And I know just from that measurement I did before, I think my ankle's probably going to be about here. Heel is going to sit about here, and then this foot's coming down. You know, it's quite actually, we're quite low. Like if you think about where the camera is probably at about, right about here, right? As far as where the eye line of the camera is. So we're looking up at us, so we're getting kind of perspective on this leg. And then we've got this foot sitting in here, roughly like that. Okay. You can see the scapula sitting up here. And we can actually see, you see that straight edge right there? That's the ridge of the scapula there. So we can see our scapula is sitting roughly in here. Right, just a ballpark there for the latissimus. If this is the box, and we know the rib cage, we can see the rib cage really quite clearly. We can't see it because it's under the garment that she's wearing, but the iliac crest is sitting about here. So we know that the oblique is sitting in this region here, right? Something like that. The other leg, we can't really see the attachment point, but we know it's attached to this box. And if we just look, okay, so the knee is coming out to about here. So I can say with a certain amount of confidence that the cylinder for this leg is sitting about here, something like that, right? Then it's going back and it's going behind. Its view is obscured. We've also got this arm is coming down this way, is going down between her legs, and we can see this hand sitting here. Now, in the interest of getting things reading a little clearer, I'm actually pulling this hand just over slightly so that we can see the fingers sitting here, right? This other hand is kind of sitting here. That will do for now. It is, there is some lens distortion, isn't there? Yeah, you're right, Lily. Sinister. Stress leads to eudaimonia? Is that, are you speaking a different language? I'm not sure what you're saying there, Noam. Okay. Neck coming out this way. Humerus is here. Her ear is sitting about here. Right. Something like that. Okay. We can actually get a little bit of mass into this arm. Triceps going to be sitting about there. Trapezius, deltoid is sitting about there. We can actually see, you know, sitting in this region here, we can see the mass of that, the volume of that breast sitting there, so we'll just kind of pencil that in, something like that. Okay. I think now we can start thinking, we can start kind of, you know, tying down a little more. And just indicate some stuff there, just very gently. Okay. So, given, you know, there's now, we need to, you know, she's sitting on an uneven surface. She's not sitting on just a square, you know, square box, so to speak. So I do want to be mindful of that. But I'm going to start to tie down a bit here, I think. And as I go, I will refine, push, pull, the huge. It's the condition of happiness and fulfillment. The stress is good stress, harnessed from doing fun work, for example, redacted. Okay, well, thanks for the heads up. It's something I did not know. Cool. All right, so coming down. We've got this weird kind of shape with the buttock going into the thigh there, just from the you know, what we were discussing. Okay, so let's come along. Let's attach this leg, hopefully. Something like that. Now we've got a lot of anatomy in this knee. So we're going to just kind of... So this little bump that you're seeing right here, this is actually the top of the fibula. And the fibula comes down this way, meets up with the tibia. So this is actually what you're seeing here is actually the fibula. The tibia is on the inside and sits a bit higher. There, okay. You know, when you've got long lines like this, you really, you know, it's quite the challenge to keep control of all the different ideas going on. Same with we've got this long stretch in here, so we want to try at least to bring some visual interest to that. So we'll see what we can do. Once again though, it's one of those things that's really useful, whether you say it internally or out loud, ask yourself, what is it that I'm drawing? So as I'm coming up, I'm like, okay, well, we established that this is the oblique, the small of the back, meeting up with the rib cage. I'm not going to get into all the little bumps of the ribs, but I'm going to just kind of establish some ideas coming up, and then we're meeting up with the scapula up here. Coming across the form to here, this hidden form of this arm. And we've got the bicep coming up, meeting up with the deltoid, direction change, coming up and then just going around to the head of the humerus there. And this side, obviously, tricep, doing something like that. Okay. Now we can always suggest just a little bit of what's going on with these ribs. You know how I feel about drawing repetitive forms over and over. I'm not a fan, but we can kind of just maybe do something like that just to kind of suggest that there are ribs there, right? We'll also hit this with a little bit of light and tone to hopefully bring a little more clarity as we go. Trapezius coming down, meeting up with the clavicle, little bump, then coming down. It's coming down to the deltoid, sitting in here. Pectoral, sitting something like that. So with this leg a little bit more straightforward. Coming around the joint of the knee. Calf coming down there. Okay, so we've got a little bit of business in here that we just need to take care of. And this wrist going up this way, as we talked about earlier. And then this other hand, almost tempted to just leave it out because I don't know, well, let's see. Don't know if it's going to help help the story. Maybe something like that. Like so. Jose says, thanks, that was really useful. Great. Freezing the chest and the center line. These are nice puzzles. They are indeed, and you hit the nail on the head. I often think of, when I'm doing this type of thing, I often kind of think in my mind of it as solving a puzzle. I think it's a nice way to kind of approach it, you know. Okay. The light is super tricky. We're at 18 minutes. I am tempted to leave this diagrammatical because I don't know if I really want to throw most of the form into shadow as it is in the reference. Very tempted to leave it there, honestly. Like we could use, you know, we could go into a conceptual light model for this, and we could shadow map our own kind of light direction. But I think we're going to get into, it's going to make it another 15 minutes. And in the spirit of this being a gesture session, like, you know, 20 minutes is a bit of a stretch for a gesture. I'd say let's move on. Fun pose, right? If I was painting the next pose in digital, I'd manage the spine glow. What? Without even thinking about it. Just seems like the right way to draw that one. You're talking about this pose and the next one? Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, so I don't know. I think the doggo's asleep. That's what we're going with. Not that she's wrecking the house, please. make. Okay, so make. Now let me reread your comment. I make the spine glow without even thinking about it. You know, well, this is a typical situation of where I would not represent the spine the way it is on the pose. So with that in mind, let's actually draw it and see what I would do, which is probably just a little mark. Okay. Let me reset the old clock. So let me just see what we've got left to do here. So we've got 3 poses. Okay. Should have added more poses for, for a gesture session. What was I thinking? I should have added a couple of extra poses so we had a couple of fast ones. Because this session could end shortly if we drew all these quickly. Let's aim for a 15, shall we? Maybe like a 15 and a couple of 10s, and we'll call it for this week. That'll probably work nicely. Okay. Center line, spine, going to be about there. Actually, it's got more of a curvature to it, doesn't it? Well, that'll do us for now. Sacrum, iliac crest. Once again, this stuff, she's wearing this undergarment which is kind of obscuring our view a little bit, but I think it's okay because we can see the oblique sitting right in here. And we can see the rib cage clearly enough, I guess, sitting about here. I appreciate your honesty. Occipital ridge, about here. Yeah, it is a very Gollum-esque type pose, in fairness. It doesn't help that the thing she's sitting on also is not, you know, just solid box type thing. Makes things quite tricky. Okay, so we've got a bit of dissection to do here, excuse the pun. Scapula is sitting quite she's kind of quite extending this arm in a way. I feel like she's quite double jointed, this model. This arm coming down this way, elbow behind the leg obviously, and then this wrist that's kind of coming down to about here. Something like that. Fingers are coming down like so. Gee, that hand's too big. That'll do for now. Deltoid sitting here. Once again, this a lot of this is obscured, but I do like to draw it anyway. So if our elbow is, or our shoulder is roughly here, this knee is kind of here, right? Which feels very kind of counterintuitive almost. Oblique coming down, iliac crest. So this is the attachment point for the leg. So yeah, that volume is sitting about here. Oh, where did our music go? Okay, so thigh. Yeah, it's quiet today, right? We've got Margot gone. Jaeger's not here, I don't think. Or if she is, she's being very quiet. Gee, this is lower. This ends about here. This knee is going to be about here. Stories. I don't, you know, I don't know if I have any more stories. I'm sure I do, but like I just don't, I don't know. Usually I need context to tell a story. That leg is about there, like that. Yeah, we got golem energy, frog energy. So let's Yeah, let's talk about this spine. I would strongly suggest, unless you are really a glutton for punishment, I would strongly suggest not drawing in all these vertebrae the way that you can see them there. And once again, repetitive ideas happening over and over of evenly spaced things tend to be death to the figure drawing. God, this model is lean. So I am going to add the trapezius here, basically to just try and help break up these shapes, or break up this mass a little bit. I know we can't see it in clear terms, which I'm kind of surprised given how lean the model is. But I think it's probably because she's so stretched out. But we can hint at the traps coming down this way. We could even hint potentially at the latissimus too. Anyway, a lot of this stuff will resolve itself as we go into the hard pass, so to speak. We've got the pectoral, which we really interestingly can see sitting in here. And the volume of the breast sitting here. I'll do some refinement on that as we go. Okay. Let's get cracking on this. So we've got the compression starting here. And the rib cage is going up this way. Okay. Actually going to come across the form. Something like that. Tricky. See you, Jose. I'm guessing you already left. You missed loads of poses a month. I'm afraid. No, just a few. Okay, so she's obviously she's sitting on this skull type thing. Something like that. I said 15, didn't I? I think I lied. I think we're going to go probably to 17 or 18. like that. Not crazy about that. In an ideal world, I'd Control Z that and redo that line, but it is what it is. Let me see that calf sitting in there. Could actually probably make this work with a just to draw in rectus femoris and a little bit of the business end of things. Okay, so deltoid is actually about here, coming in, meeting up with the trapezius there, something like that. Tricep. Yes, deltoid is sitting in here, right? Actually, this hand is lower, so yeah, I think I can afford to bring my hand down to about here. Okay. Yeah, we're kind of getting there, huh? So yeah, let's just come back to here, pectoral muscle. Kind of sitting in here. I'm just going to use a little bit of this tone or core shadow to help things out just a little bit. Yeah, you gotta have the butterfly. Right. There's a hint at that vertebra there. It's enough. It's all we need. Okay, I think that's a pretty fair place to call it with this one. Okay. That'll do. That'll do. Okay, next pose. Well, I'm not getting into tone, Noam, so I think we can get away with calling that diagrammatical and calling it a day on that. Right? I think that's fair. I think it's a pretty good place to stop. Like you could actually really go to town with the light and tone on this one. Could be something worth revisiting at some point. But yeah, okay. All right. Now, let's see. Oh, this is a nice pose. Thanks, Lily. Yeah, I think it kind of helps, right? To be angular with this type of model, you know. Okay. I think, given the time that we have left, well, let's see. Dog's quiet, so we have a bit. Potentially, we have breathing space, or this could all rapidly come to an end. Let's aim for a 10 on this one, and you'll probably go over. Lens distortion on this one. Yeah, forget curves. There's a place for curves. The problem is everyone overuses curves. No one seems to see the straights. I would say no one. That's unfair. Oftentimes people don't see the straights in the form. And you want a balance, right? Because it's the relationship between curves and straights that will actually provide tension and dynamics in the drawing. Too many curves, no dynamics. Too much straights, no dynamics. Or the wrong type of dynamics. Yeah, you go. Hey, you're with us. Lens distortion, making a head look gigantic. Yeah, I'm not too worried about that. I'd probably actually compensate. What I liked about this pose when I saw it was kind of like the relationship between the clavicles and the arms and the torso. It's you know, there's some meat on the bone here, so to speak. Excuse the pun. But I'm not going to worry too much about the lens distortion, because I think from the head down, there's not too much lens distortion. Maybe a little bit. Feels like the head is suffering the most from it, because once again the eye line is roughly at the clavicle, so the curvature is probably, that's where the curvature starts, and we're getting this lens distortion on the head. Be my guess, but I'm absolutely talking out my butt. I really don't know, because I'm not a photographer and I don't work with lenses. Oh, you got newsprint, huh? All right, good stuff, Hemant. Well, if you've only got curves in your drawing, it's like putting too much of one seasoning in your dish. You've got to balance. This would be my feeling. All right. There is a very, very, very slight angle, which I am going to kind of potentially push. So I'm just going to leave that line there for now and see what happens. Now, she is going away. The upper torso is going away from us. Actually, there's quite a bit more lens distortion than just her head, if I think about it. Anyway, we're doing it, kids. We're doing it. Center line. It's going to be about there. Manubrium about here. Clavicle really kind of pushing up this way. Pushing up this way, and then we've got arm's doing this. I really like what this right arm is doing. Hyperextended. And it's really kind of coming straight towards us, like that. Not towards us, but straight down, kind of, you know what I mean. Nice, very scientific explanation of lenses, appreciate it. Pectoral, can really see that V here where the pectoral thins out. Especially on a model this lean, very evident. Yeah, this arm is great. Really get the sense of the joint sitting in here. Something like that. And okay, a hand is about here. Actually, I think my torso might be a tad long. I think my torso is actually about here. Knees come down this far. Knees sitting here and here. Actually, get a sense for that iliac crest going up like that. It's about there. Okay. Sorry, I'm kind of talking to myself. Very foreshortened legs. Lens theory. I don't have a lens theory. Do you use white charcoal? No, I don't. I almost exclusively these days just black charcoal. I'm not ruling out the idea of using, you know, colored papers and all of that type of thing. But for me, the real enjoyment in this process, or a large part of the enjoyment in this process, is the drawing side of it. And I just find these tools are really good for that. And I don't really find myself needing to get distracted with other materials and that type of thing. It doesn't really appeal to me, to be honest. It's not to say I won't ever do it, but it's not on my priority list. Okay, so there's a whole lot of kind of unanswered questions down here. Navel, sitting right about here. Come down this way, okay. The mass of this leg is sitting here with crazy kind of perspective on these. We'll call it distortion, and we will blame said distortion when the drawing doesn't come out looking right. Because it's always nice to have something else to blame other than ourselves. But good Lord, that's a mess. I think part of the problem is this arm needs to be over. But that elbow is there. This hand is actually, but this arm is about here. I feel like I'll be able to resolve a lot of these things when I get into tie down. Yeah, I'm gonna just go for it. Time is ticking. We said 10 minutes, didn't we? Good Lord. It's 15, I lied. 15 is optimistic, but we will aim for that. There's just a lot to kind of work through, if you know what I mean. This happens. We have this sitting in here. All right, let's keep going. I like to use mid-tone paper and use white pencil for highlights. Yeah, I get it. I do get it, absolutely. Why not? Look, I think there's a lot to be said for that. But if for me at least, if all I want to focus on is the drawing side of things, this is a pretty good setup. All right, we'll give just a couple of minutes of time to these legs and then we'll call it. Sorry, coming from the back of the form. Oh, Lord. Okay. Poor girl. I've put her through a horrific accident. Oh, God, those legs are absolutely atrocious. How did that go so wrong? Okay. This is a disaster. Well, I did say that I was focusing on the clavicles. Oy, oy, oy. All right, too much to fix and no time to do it. I'm out. You can, that one can reliably go on the fire. Shame. Upper torso was working quite well. Good Lord. Good Lordy. Not good. No bueno. And that was a car crash in slow motion, that one. I didn't even realize it was happening till it was too late. Oi, oi, oi. Yeah, you can tell what's happening. You can tell she's in a bad way. But I appreciate the the sentiment. All right, what we got here? Last pose, standing pose. I'm going to keep this to about 7. All right, because in the interest of this being a gesture session, didn't really turn out to be so much of a gesture session after all. After drawing something straight out of Area 51, that's exactly what happened to me. Lulu, I think we were in the same space there. Not looking to draw aliens necessarily. foreshortening and occlusion. Yeah, we're gonna, there is, and distortion and nonsense going on with that one. Stephen, welcome. You will find the link to the reference on the community chat page. Should be quite close to the top, and you'll find the reference hosted on my website. You may already know this, Stephen. Well, either way. But I will say you're a little late to the party for today. We've got one more pose to go. And you just were witness to a horrific thing happening drawing-wise. But this is what happens, right? Where this is live and uncut. You're not getting the beautiful version of this situation. You're getting it as it happens, so to speak. If we draw a single gesture, it's legally a gesture session. Lulu, I like your style. But what constitutes a gesture? Does it have to be below a certain time? I would argue that you could do a 10-minute gesture drawing. Nothing technically suggests it has to be a fast drawing to be a gesture drawing. It's more the spirit in which you approach the drawing. Excuse me. I do plan on talking about this a bit more because I do have some thoughts on the subject. And not trying to draw fast, because I do have a problem with that. I have a problem with ultra fast poses, you know, the 30-second, 1-minute poses. Especially as I've got older, I've come to the conclusion that there's less and less value in them as time goes on. But we will talk about that another time. Okay, we got a, I said 7. Let's do a 7. Nice, relatively straightforward pose here. Love the way she's pushing out the hips there. It's a lot of fun. And we're coming down to a straight leg, straight supporting leg, which is coming down this way. Something like that. Okay. Yeah. Look, if you're looking for chicken scratch, hit the 30-second poses. This arm is draped over, very cool. This arm pushing out like this. And it's funny, you know, we do all these kind of convoluted poses. You get a pose like this, it feels really quite, you know, relatively straightforward in comparison. All right, what is this, an old age home? Come on. There we go. Really, look at that aces, guys. Right there, boom. Beautiful. Yeah, there's a lean on this one, all right. Yeah. Yeah, pose like this makes a long, lean model even longer and leaner. Where are we at? Oof. We're out of time. All right. Well, yeah. What can I say? We tried. We tried. I managed to draw her even leaner than she is somehow. That can happen, Lulu. That's happened to me on a number of occasions. In fact, I think I probably have too, although maybe I'm borderline here. It's a weird thing happens. You actually, what you're trying to, maybe it's because you're so focused on trying to compensate for that, that somehow your brain just says, no, I'm going to sabotage you. I don't know what happens. But yeah, it's a weird thing. Yeah, I've drawn her incredibly long. I think she's probably, it's a little longer than it should be. But you know what? Such is life. I think the first few poses went okay. Last couple, a little bit of a, you know, discombobulation there, so to speak. But a bit of fun nonetheless. Okay. It speedily turns into caricature. That can happen too. Yeah, you can tend to push. Plus, as I said, this was a long, lean model doing a very long, lean pose, if that makes sense. And that can exacerbate things just a little bit. Anyway, good stuff. We made it. Monday, as you know, we'll be doing something a little different. Whether it'll be master copy or we will focus in on a body part, I have yet to decide. But, you know, we'll do one or the other, if assuming that we're all here Monday. So yeah, what we will do is we'll meet up Monday, same time. I will give you guys a damage report. The house is either perfect and the puppy is asleep, being a good little girl somewhere, or I'm going to go upstairs to absolute carnage. I'd like to say it's a coin toss, but I don't think it is. I think I'm going to assume that she's been a good girl. Thanks, guys, really. Thanks for joining. There is no stream without you guys at the end of the day. If you wouldn't mind, if you haven't already, please hit the like button. Apparently it helps. So they say, so they tell me. Alternatively, if you didn't enjoy it, you know, you could hit the dislike button. It's always an option. All right. With that all said, guys, it's Thursday. You can feel Friday in the air. It's a good thing. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. And please, please, please look after yourselves. And I will see you all on Monday. All right. Cheers, everyone. Take care. Bye.